The man stared at Myung Go, unable to understand where this stranger came from and why he intervened in a conflict that didn't concern him. The red-bearded man shouted his questions to the stranger, wanting to understand who this Yun Wai-chan was, as the boy claimed, and why he was involved in this matter at all. Myung Go introduced himself as the leader of the Blue Dragon Squad, calling himself Dragon Sword. The boy was furious, asking if the man believed that his actions would go unpunished. Hua Yun stood behind the boy, extremely surprised. The nickname Myung Go used was familiar to her. She became curious about what he was doing in this village and why he mentioned her husband's name with such hatred. The mercenaries lined up, looking at the boy with disdain. They said they had no idea who he was talking about and that they came to this village for a reason. They would leave only after settling everything. Myung Go didn't expect the bandits to engage in a peaceful conversation, so he decided to act ruthlessly. He felt no mercy for such people. The commander shouted for his squad to regroup and prepare for an attack. It was time to teach the bandits a lesson and set an example for those who dared to repeat their actions. The Blue Dragon warriors reacted instantly. They assumed a fighting position that differed in technique from the commonly accepted teachings of martial arts. The bandits observed the squad's actions, only smirking at the effort the soldiers put into their maneuvers. The mercenaries believed that these warriors would find their death in the village today, so strongly did they believe in their own strength. Redbeard focused his energy and directed it towards his comrades in battle. The bald one believed that the warriors themselves expressed a desire to leave this world, and he was happy to let them do so, even helping a bit. The black and white ghosts rushed at the Azure Dragon squad. They intended to eliminate the enemies as quickly as possible and continue interrogating the village residents. However, the members of the Azure Dragon squad were no cowards. The soldiers confidently stood in a defensive position, anticipating the enemy's attack. The man in the white mask broke through first. The warriors pointed the tips of their swords at the approaching enemy. They had no intention of sparing the bandit, relying on their skills to quickly deal with the opponent. The man in white clothes was cunning, a skilled fighter who had fought against the strongest opponents. The bandit avoided the enemy's trap by jumping up over the heads of the men, surprising those present. They did not expect such agility from a man in white. The white ghost made several sword movements in the air, leaving the men of the Azure Dragon squad with no chance. The mercenary wiped out part of the squad, which had prepared for battle in just a few minutes. The remaining part of the Blue Dragons prepared to repel the attack of the bandit in the black mask. The soldiers received the command to hold formation. The thug grinned maliciously, just like his comrades. He was strong and knew that even such well-trained warriors could not inflict significant damage on him. He rushed into the center of the group, threatening to decapitate all his opponents. Myung Go watched as the scoundrels dealt with his people, and anger boiled inside him. He was responsible for the lives of these people. The boy marveled at who these people were, whose appearance resembled demons, and their behavior was no different from that of crazed wild beasts. He carefully looked at the appearance of each of the opponents again. These people were truly experienced warriors, and something in their demeanor alarmed the leader of the squad. He recalled rumors about legendary mercenaries who were masters of torture. If the black and white ones were devilish twins, then the red-bearded one was a harbinger of the bloody moon. He was an adept in the most sophisticated tortures in the world and took pleasure in tormenting his victims. Myung Go and the third group of his squad fell into a trap. The demons closed in on them, defeating most of the Azure Dragon squad. The red-bearded devil laughed evilly. Now the warriors of the Blue Dragon resembled more mice trembling in fear. The man asked why the leader did not listen to his words from the very beginning. Then his people would have stayed alive because the bandits had no business with them. The leader proposed that those who remained sheath their swords, and they would spare their lives. The warriors of Myung Go were anxious. They all wanted to have a future. The soldiers whispered that their opponents were too strong. They also recognized the red beard and would prefer to die instead of being tormented by his methods of torture. Myung Go ordered his men to sheath their swords. He had already sacrificed the lives of their comrades in vain. With the clang of blades hitting the ground, the men decided to accept the enemy's conditions, hoping they wouldn't regret their decision. The only one who kept his sword was their captain. The warriors looked at their leader in astonishment, not understanding why he didn't disarm like the rest of the squad. The man leaped and swung at the remaining soldiers. The men looked puzzled at their leader's actions, not understanding what was happening. Myung Go declared that if they reasoned this way, they had no pride and were not worthy to call themselves members of the Azure Dragon Squad because their behavior was offensive to the clan. Redbeard watched the boy with admiration. In a matter of minutes, this young man became far more interesting to him. He could call this swordsman even more insane than the bald one. The man was already looking forward to how interesting it would be to torture this young lad. He planned to flay him alive in a particularly sophisticated way. Myung Go didn't want to hear even the voice of this villain. He ordered the man to shut up and pointed his sword towards the opponent. Concentrating energy at the tips of his fingers, the boy transformed it into the breath of the Azure Dragon and attacked Redbeard. The bald one laughed. The boy was a worthy student of the Murim leader, and his sword cut sharply, like a shark's teeth. Myung Go was furious. He wanted to shut this old man up once and for all. The boy's face expressed all his thoughts at that moment. The boy transformed the energy into another technique and attempted to attack Redbeard with it. The man dodged at the last moment, and the energy disc flew over his bald head, narrowly missing. The uncontrollable energy hit the roof of one of the houses, causing the building to smoke and sway. Myung Go sighed discontentedly. He was not pleased with his mistake, but there was nothing he could do to rectify the situation. Redbeard pondered that despite the boy's real power, he was quite young and impulsive in his decisions. Like all immature youngsters, he saw the battle tunnel vision, focusing only on one goal. The blue dragon sword sensed the approach of the white ghost and turned just as the man swung his merciless weapon over the boy's head. The boy's back was exposed, and the mercenary seized the opportunity to strike him while Myung Go was focused on Redbeard's attack. On the other side, the second demon rushed into the attack. The defense of the boy looked like a sieve. Wherever he turned, the opponent could easily strike an exposed area. The sword of the man in the black mask finally reached its target and wounded Myung Go in the side. The guy screamed in pain. Leaning on his sword, the warrior squatted on one knee and tried to recover. Sweat rolled down his face, and the wound caused severe pain. The white ghost said with ridicule that the reputation of the dragon sword is exaggerated. It is clear that the boy wanted to be one of the 9 dragons, but in fact he is nothing interesting. A man in black approached the guy and growled contentedly. He was about to complete the blow he had begun. Suddenly the black man's words were interrupted by the red-bearded man. He was rapidly approaching and ordered his partners to stop. The bald man wanted to leave the guy alive. Ordinary death was too banal and boring for him. He offered to take the boy with him to the lair of the 4 and there continued to torture the dragon warrior with torture. Meanwhile, the monk and the grandfather in the hat continued their way in the valley. They reasoned that the person who defeated the Dam clan had a power comparable to that possessed by the elders of the Murim. The great monk noted that Yong Wai Jong Take did not belong to any of the branches of martial arts used for killing, but his companion did not understand what the big man meant. The grandfather thought about it. He assumed that the boy was still a member of some sect or was related to the 4 saints. Then the monk continued that in the entire history of Murim there was only one such person, an exception to all the rules. The grandfather did not know who his friend was talking about. Go Sura, who lived 800 years ago, drowned the world of Murim in blood, but it was so long ago that not many people remember, and that warrior had no descendants. In any case, the men decided to hurry up, because Myung Go and the Blue Dragon squad were exactly walking on the edge of a knife and danger lurked for them at every step. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave comments to help the new video come out as soon as possible. Have a great day.